The Valari transport ship hummed through the void between star systems, its passengers a mix of diplomatic envoys, merchants, and civilian families returning from the outer colonies. Among them sat John Hayes, a human engineer on contract with the Galactic Engineering Corps, and beside him, Elsa Chen, a xenobiologist documenting new species for the Terran archives. They had met only hours before, sharing the cramped passenger quarters of the civilian deck. John found Elsa's enthusiasm for alien life infectious, her eyes lighting up as she described the bioluminescent creatures of Proxima Station. He was mid-laugh at one of her stories when the ship lurched violently. Emergency klaxons screamed through the corridors. The metallic voice of the ship's AI announced what everyone feared. "Pirate vessels detected. Hull breach imminent. All passengers proceed to emergency pods." Chaos erupted. The Valari crew, tall, gray-skinned beings with 4 arms, scrambled to organize the evacuation. John grabbed his emergency kit while Elsa clutched her research datapad like a lifeline. They joined the surge of bodies pressing toward the escape pods. That's when John saw her. A small Valari child, no more than 4 solar cycles old, had been separated from her parents in the panic. She stood frozen in the corridor, her large silver eyes wide with terror, her tiny hands covering her auditory membranes as the alarms shrieked. Around her, adults pushed past, focused only on their own survival. "John, we have to go," Elsa shouted over the din, pulling at his arm. But John had already changed direction, pushing through the crowd toward the child. He scooped her up. She weighed almost nothing, her body designed for lower gravity, and turned back toward Elsa. That's when the pirates breached the passenger deck. They weren't after cargo. They were Krellian slavers, notorious for capturing exotic species to sell on black markets. Their weapons hummed with lethal intent as they began stunning passengers, dragging the unconscious bodies toward their boarding craft. A Krellian warrior, 7 feet of armored muscle and scales, spotted John holding the Valari child. Something valuable, something small and easy to transport. The alien raised its plasma rifle. John didn't think. He turned his body, shielding the child completely. The first shot burned through his shoulder. The second shattered his ribs. By the third, Elsa was screaming his name. The fourth, fifth, and sixth shots came in rapid succession as John stumbled but refused to fall, refused to let go. The 7th shot pierced his abdomen. Elsa threw herself at the Krellian, scratching at its face, buying seconds. Security forces finally arrived, and the pirate fired one last shot, the 8th, that tore through John's leg before being neutralized. John collapsed. The last thing he saw before darkness claimed him was the Valari child's silver eyes, unharmed, staring down at him as Elsa pressed her hands desperately against his wounds. John woke to silence. No. Not silence. Soft breathing, multiple sources, and something else, the subtle hum of high-grade medical technology. He opened his eyes slowly, expecting a hospital room, perhaps a recovery ward on some galactic medical frigate. Instead, he found himself in a chamber that looked more like a palace. The walls gleamed with traditional Valari geometric patterns inlaid with precious metals. Beside his bed stood equipment he didn't recognize, medical devices far beyond standard galactic issue, and surrounding his bed, standing at rigid attention, were 12 Valari warriors, not ordinary soldiers. These were Zirval, the elite royal guard. Each wore ceremonial armor that served as both protection and badge of honor, intricate designs marking decades of service. Their 4 arms held weapons that could level buildings, yet they stood motionless, watching him with expressions he couldn't read. "What?" John's voice came out as a croak. One of the warriors stepped forward and lowered themselves into a deep bow, a gesture John knew from his cultural training meant profound respect. The others followed suit. Before John could process this, a door opened. Elsa rushed in, tears streaming down her face. "John! Oh, God, you're awake!" Behind her came two adult Velari, dressed in robes that shimmered with authority. And between them, holding their hands, was the child. She broke free and ran to John's bedside, chirping in her native language. The male Velari approached, and John suddenly understood. The intricate patterns on his robes, the way the warriors had positioned themselves. This wasn't just any family. "I am Commander Velthar of the Velari Royal Fleet," the man said in perfect standard galactic. His voice carried weight. "This is my bondmate, Lady Kreshna, and you have already met our daughter, Siriel." John's mind reeled. Royal family. He'd saved a princess. "Mr. Hayes," Lady Kreshna spoke, her voice thick with emotion. "You sustained 8 plasma shots. Each one should have been fatal. Human biology is considered fragile by most galactic standards." She moved closer, taking his hand in 2 of hers. "Yet you did not fall. You did not let go. Our physicians say you held our daughter for 4 minutes after the 8th shot until you were certain she was safe." "Any human would have—" John started. "No," Commander Velthar interrupted firmly. "We have studied the incident. 17 other species were present during that attack. All fled or froze. Only 2 humans acted. You and your companion." He nodded toward Elsa, who blushed. "She fought a Krellian warrior with her bare hands to protect you both." The commander gestured to the warriors surrounding them. "The Girval have served the royal family for 8,000 cycles. They are sworn to die for our bloodline, yet not one was present when our daughter needed protection." His voice cracked slightly. "A human stranger was." He reached into his robes and withdrew a medallion unlike anything John had seen. It pulsed with soft light, inscribed with Velari symbols that seemed to shift and breathe. "This is the Star of Velka, awarded only to those who exemplify the highest ideals of the Velari people, protection of the innocent at the cost of self." The commander placed it around John's neck. "In 8 millennia, it has been awarded 17 times. You are the first non-Velari recipient." Lady Kreshna addressed the warriors. "From this day, John Hayes of Earth is Sakor, shield brother to the royal house. His life is as our life. His enemies are our enemies. His battles are our battles." As one, the 12 elite warriors struck their weapons against their chest plates, creating a thunderous salute. "Sakor!" they chanted. "Shield brother!" Little Siriel climbed carefully onto the bed, mindful of John's injuries. She placed her small hand over the medallion on his chest and spoke in standard galactic, the words carefully practiced. "Thank you for not letting go." John felt tears on his face. Elsa was crying openly now, her hand finding his. "The galaxy sees humanity as weak," Commander Velthar said quietly. "Soft. Short-lived. Fragile." He met John's eyes. "But we have learned what it truly means to be human. You do not have our armor, our strength, our technology, yet you stand between the innocent and harm anyway. You endure what would kill others. You fight when retreat is rational. That is not weakness, John Hayes of Earth." The commander placed one hand over his heart in the traditional Velari gesture of deepest respect. "That is why the galaxy should fear you." As the warriors maintained their vigil and little Siriel fell asleep against his arm, John understood that he hadn't just saved one child. He'd shown an entire civilization what humans were made of, not superior technology or enhanced biology, but something the galaxy had forgotten was valuable: the simple, stubborn refusal to let go.